Right now, the world around you is full, crowded with light, motion, and constant noise.
4.2 million years ago, none of this existed. Only land, wind, and survival.
We were vulnerable then, exposed to the elements. But we changed. We developed technology and complex societies.
There were no walls to hide behind. No shelter waiting ahead. 4.2 million years ago, in the cradle of East Africa, survival depended not on technology, but on acute awareness.
Today, survival happens quietly, handled by systems we barely notice.
We walk together, yet apart. But 4 million years ago, survival depended on connection.
Back then, survival demanded attention to the land, to sound, to each other.
4 million years separate these steps. From the dust of the cradle to the concrete of tomorrow.
Now, attention is optional and often surrendered without thought.
For millions of years, survival hinged on instinct. A sudden shift in the wind, a shadow in the grass, demanded immediate reaction.
The danger never disappeared. It only became harder to recognize. By every rule of nature, lives like these should not have lasted. The story begins here. This is where we first stood upright, where the journey began. Danger was not rare here. It was constant. From the dust of the savannah to the dawn of the synthetic age, our journey has been long. Everything that lived here was exposed, seen, hunted, tested. Before history began, they moved across this landscape, driven by the timeless rhythm of survival.
4 million years ago, stillness was survival. But today, we are never truly still. We have built a new world.
Without panic, they move towards the rise, an ancient wisdom guiding their steps long before the dawn of this new world.
Those who survived learned patterns where danger waited. Before civilization, before comfort, there was only the climb, the relentless struggle against a harsh and unforgiving world. There was no safe place, only safer moments.
The hominids resume walking, never stopping to settle.
Survival here was always temporary.
The savannah stretches out before us, a vast, untamed wilderness, resisting the relentless march of time.
Back then, attention wasn't a habit. It was the difference between living and disappearing.
40,000 centuries ago, listening was not a choice. It was the difference between life and the end of the line.
Now, attention is split 100 ways, often surrendered without noticing it's gone.
In that world, even a sound in the grass could rewrite the next minute.
Today, danger is rarely physical. It's constant noise, pressure that never stops talking.
Attention cost energy, but losing it cost everything.
We traded awareness for comfort and barely noticed the exchange.
And yet the question remains, how did anything this fragile endure for so long?
Survival wasn't luck. It was memory.
The trail is worn deep into the earth, a pattern etched by those who learned that the familiar path leads to survival.
They learned where danger gathered and where it didn't. Patterns reduced risk, and risk decided who lived.
The path to survival is learned, not given. Observe the patterns of the land and the patterns of the predator.
Survival knowledge didn't start with them. It was inherited.
Those who ignored patterns didn't leave descendants.
To endure the long journey, they have learned the value of conservation. Every movement is deliberate, every stride economical.
They survived without tools, but not without intelligence.
The path they chose was no accident. Survival depended on recognizing patterns, repeating the successful journeys of the past.
So the question isn't how they survived, it's why only some did.
But the world didn't stay predictable for long.
The world was shifting beneath their feet. The old rules of survival no longer applied.
Survival patterns had guided them for ages. But when the world itself shifted, even instinct could fail.
With the world shifting beneath them, there was no time to stop safely. Survival demanded constant movement.
This was the tall grass, a new wilderness. Everything they knew, every rule of survival, might fail them here.
Change demanded energy, and energy was never guaranteed.
Not because they were weak, but because the world changed faster than they could.
The land itself felt restless. A sudden instability that meant even the oldest rules of survival could fail.
For them, stability never arrived. Change was the only constant.
Modern life seems stable. We expect the ground beneath our feet to be solid, unchanging.
We built stability, layer by layer, system by system.
Outside, the struggle continues. Inside, we dictate the very air we breathe.
For them, there was no backup, no second layer waiting underneath.
Dependence was once a matter of survival, etched into our very bones. Today, we call it inconvenience.
Today, systems replaced instincts, and people replaced each other.
Comfort has become our keg. The price of stillness is the illusion of safety.
Stability wasn't given. It was earned, step by step.
Survival was a negotiation with the earth, a relentless calibration of body and mind against an unstable world.
Our safety feels permanent until something interrupts it.
They face the elements, unfiltered and raw. We replace the wild wind with a measured breeze, mistaking stillness for safety.
So which world was truly stable, and which just feels that way? For millions of years, this land dictated the terms of survival. unchanging, unforgiving.
Their survival depended on awareness, complete, uninterrupted attention. They did not control their world, they were immersed in it. A constant, subtle dance with the environment.
There was no autopilot. Every step was a decision.
We seek control, but they possessed something deeper. A shared awareness that bound them together.
Control made us comfortable, but comfort dulled attention.
"4 million years ago, survival was not taught. It was observed.
Control feels like safety until it stops working. They were aware of everything. We control our surroundings. But in controlling everything, have we forgotten how to be aware?
So what truly kept them alive? Control or awareness?
They survived not by changing the world, but by understanding it. We have forgotten how to listen to the silence.
By every natural measure, they shouldn't have lasted.
Exposed and vulnerable, they pushed forward. A journey against all logic. A pattern begins to emerge.
Again and again, extinction passed close enough to be felt. Without reason, they shift their path. An unseen imperative guiding them away from the coming danger. Too often, survival followed a pattern, not chance. Today, survival feels guaranteed, engineered into the world around us.
They waited, sensing the presence of death. But the moment passed, and the predator remained hidden.
Statistically, most lives like these should have vanished.
Survival should have been impossible. Yet, they persisted, oblivious to the silent observer in the sky.
So the question isn't how they survived, but why they were allowed to. "4.2 million years ago, survival meant constant risk, every step earned. This was the cost of existence. What have you traded for your comfort?"
Today, survival feels automatic, built into the world around us. The question is, as we increasingly rely on these systems, are we losing something essential to our humanity?
They survived by paying attention. We survive by trusting systems.
They sought survival. We seek distraction. What is the difference?
But comfort has a cost, and awareness fades quietly. So what really separates us from them? Time or something else?
We stand here today because they walked there then. But if this is the destination, what was the point of the journey? Against all odds, some survived, when most should not have. Survival meant adapting to the Earth. Now we adapt the Earth to us. Which path ensures our future?
Do you think survival was earned or allowed?
Tell me what you think, and why.